The morning the buses rolled into Camp Rydell, the air carried that familiar mixture of dust, diesel, and nerves. Recruits poured out, some laughing too loudly, pretending not to be terrified, others stepping cautiously like they were crossing into a new world. But one of them barely made a sound. A girl, thin, quiet, hair tied tight, eyes steady, moved alone. Her name? Lena Ward. No swagger, no noise, just disciplined steps, measured breathing, and a stillness you don't normally see in an 18-year-old. The kind of stillness that usually comes from being taught by someone who lived through fire. But no one there knew that. Not yet. They noticed only what was easy to notice. She was small, reserved, didn't talk unless spoken to. The perfect target. And every platoon always had wolves who sensed weakness, except sometimes the weak were only quiet storms waiting for the right wind. But on day one, no one could see the storm inside her. They only saw a girl looking at the ground. The barracks filled quickly. Fresh boots thudded across the floors, duffels slammed onto bunks, lockers soon clattered open and shut. Lena took a corner bunk. Neat, precise. She placed one folded shirt at a time inside the metal locker. She moved with that patient exactness you see in people raised around discipline, but the girls around her weren't noticing discipline. They were noticing silence. "Hey," one recruit, the loudest one, called out. "You new robot girl, you ever smile?" Laughter rippled. Lena didn't answer, just kept folding. Another girl nudged her shoulder harder than necessary. "You hear her?" Still no response. The loud one grinned. "She's scared. Probably never been yelled at before." They didn't know the truth, that Lena had grown up in a house where silence wasn't fear. Silence was standard. Silence was training. Silence meant you listened harder, but she didn't defend herself, didn't push back, didn't say a word, even when the second nudge became a shove, even when they blocked her path to the door, even when they started asking the questions that reveal everything. "Where you from? You got family in the service? Anybody tough in your life?" Lena hesitated. A single answer slipped out. "My mother," the loud one scoffed. "Oh yeah? She a supply clerk or something?" Lena's voice stayed level. "She was a Navy SEAL." The room froze for 2 seconds, until the laughter exploded. "A SEAL? Your mom? No women in the SEALs, idiot. You lying little—" They shoved her again. One girl kicked her duffel, another kicked her shin. That phrase, "No women in the SEALs," echoed around the room like gospel truth, and Lena didn't fight back, didn't argue, didn't even raise her hands. She simply collected her duffel quietly, inspected the rip in the fabric, and placed it back on her bunk. The louder they barked, the quieter she became, and that only made them angrier. They didn't know that sometimes the quietest people are carrying the heaviest history, but the room would learn. Soon. 2 days later came uniform inspection. Recruits lined up like fence posts, rigid, hopeful, sweating. Lena stood at the end, shoulders square, uniform crisp but unassuming, except for one thing. A small patch sewn inside her locker, barely visible, black, edged in gold. The trident symbol, but not fully, the modified version used by SEAL candidates who trained as dependents on certain bases. Only someone deeply familiar with that world would recognize it, but these girls weren't. They saw only a patch they didn't understand. "Where'd you get that, Ward?" the loud one sneered. "You buy that online to look tough?" Lena didn't answer. She closed the locker gently. The mystery annoyed them even more. Morning PT, day 5. Push-ups in the dirt, sweat rolling off brows, instructors yelling like thunder. That's when the second clue appeared. During sprints, Lena's sleeve lifted. A thin, pale scar ran across her forearm, perfectly straight, clean, and old. The kind of scar left by controlled training accidents, not teenage recklessness. Another girl pointed. "What happened there? Paper cut from your little SEAL, mommy?" More laughter. Lena pulled the sleeve back down. No answer, but the instructor jogging nearby noticed. His eyes narrowed slightly. Recognition, but no comment. He kept running. The clues were there. But the recruits were too busy mocking to see them. The final clue revealed itself on day 7. Combatives training, recruits partnered up, trying to imitate the moves instructors demonstrated. Sloppy grips, unsteady footing, too much muscle, not enough technique, except Lena. When she stepped on the mat, she took a stance that wasn't taught in basic training. A fluid, grounded posture, the signature defensive positioning used by SEAL instructors teaching dependence at home. Her weight distribution, her balance, her ready stillness. It wasn't the stance of a recruit who learned this today. It was the stance of someone who'd learned it years ago, corrected 100 times by someone much more skilled. One of the instructors paused mid-demonstration, watching her for a moment. But before he could say anything, the mockers returned. "Oh, look, she thinks she's special. That stance looks stupid. She's embarrassing herself." They shoved her from behind. She stumbled, deliberately off balance, to avoid hurting someone when she instinctively could have reversed the push. She recovered slowly, letting them laugh. She still didn't fight back. She was waiting, not for revenge, for permission. The next event was an endurance course. Mud pits, rope climbs, sprint drags, designed to humble, tire, and expose. Lena started middle of the pack. Quiet, determined, steady. The loud girls rushed ahead, shouting, cursing, trying to show off. But by the halfway mark, they were gassed. Their arrogance didn't carry them far. When Lena passed them without a sound, their humiliation boiled over. At the rope wall, 3 of them cornered her again, tired, angry, threatened by someone who never responded to them. One hissed, "Say it again. Say your mom was a SEAL." Lena wiped mud from her face, looked up at the rope wall. Silence. "Say it!" They shoved her back onto the ground, hard. She landed without bracing, rolling with the fall to avoid injury. A technique instinct wouldn't allow a novice to use. Another clue. Another sign. Still unnoticed. Another girl kicked mud over her legs. And then, the loud one kicked her ribs. A clean, sharp strike. Lena didn't cry out, didn't rise fast, didn't strike back. She just slowly pushed herself onto her knees. Around them, recruits stopped climbing. The instructor blew his whistle, but something else blew across the field before he reached them. A low rumble. An engine. A government SUV rolled up beside the course, escorted by a second vehicle. Dark-tinted, official, unmistakably high clearance. Recruits glanced nervously. Instructors straightened like poles. The doors opened, and out stepped a woman with a presence so sharp it cut through the air. Broad shoulders, weathered face, eyes that scanned the field like they'd memorized the map long before arriving. She wore civilian clothes, but her posture betrayed years of elite training. Beside her walked a decorated senior officer, one who outranked everyone there. The woman's gaze fell instantly on Lena, kneeling in the mud. The entire field went silent. Every recruit felt the shift, even the ones mocking. The woman walked forward with the gait of someone who'd run missions across continents, someone who understood violence intimately and disciplined it carefully. She stopped in front of Lena. The loud girls stepped aside, suddenly tiny shadows. The woman said just one quiet line. "Stand up, kid." Lena rose, not quickly, not dramatically, with that same steady control she carried since arrival. The senior officer turned to the instructors. "Everyone, lock it up. This is a private matter between Ms. Ward and the department." Murmurs spread, glances, fear. The loud girls looked at each other. Then, the moment that shattered every doubt. The woman placed a hand on Lena's shoulder. It wasn't a motherly gesture. It was the gesture of someone greeting an equal. "Didn't think I'd see you this soon," she murmured. One recruit whispered, "Who is she?" The woman turned her head toward the 3 girls who had been mocking, kicking, and shoving Lena for days. Her voice sharpened like a blade. "You kicked my daughter." Silence. Absolute silence. Even wind refused to move. The officer beside her addressed the instructors. "For record purposes, I can confirm, this is Commander Mara Ward, retired Navy SEAL Team 6, one of the few women to complete the classified integrated selection pipeline." Gasps. Hands covering mouths, feet shuffling in panic. The loud girls stared at Lena as if seeing her for the first time. Commander Ward continued. "She trained every day of her childhood under my supervision. Discipline, restraint, and the full curriculum we used for dependence cleared on base." She looked at her daughter. "You did good. You didn't strike back." Lena nodded slightly. The officer then addressed the gathered recruits. Ward passed our internal combatives evaluations last year, higher than most junior instructors. She's here by her own choice, to build from the bottom. No special treatment, no rank privilege, but full respect. He paused. And she hasn't been receiving that, has she? The loud girls couldn't answer, couldn't look up, couldn't breathe. Commander Ward turned her gaze to the rope wall. "Lena," she said, "show them what you've been holding back." Lena looked at the wall, then she moved. She sprinted, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with fluid precision, feet digging into mud, arms slicing the air, a run refined through years of drills in harsher environments than this. She reached the wall, grabbed the rope, and ascended in seconds, not sloppy, not rushed, controlled. At the top, she didn't pause. She vaulted clean over it and dropped down the other side like a falling leaf, landing exactly where it intends. Recruits stared, jaws open. Instructors exchanged looks of disbelief. They'd been watching a recruit capable of more than half their staff. Lena jogged back around. No panting, no sweat, just calm. Commander Ward nodded once. Good. That was her approval, and that was all Lena ever needed. The officer stepped forward. All recruits, front and center. Form up. They scrambled into formation. He faced Lena. In recognition of conduct under harassment, discipline under provocation, and exceptional capability witnessed today, he raised his hand in a sharp, crisp salute. Every instructor followed. Then, every recruit, including the girls who mocked her, copied the salute, some with shame, some with awe, all with respect. Lena didn't bask in it. She didn't smile. She simply returned the salute with quiet steadiness, because real strength never needs noise. Commander Ward left soon after, speaking only once more to her daughter. Make your own path now. No hug, no dramatics, just the kind of respect exchanged between warriors. Word spread across the base within hours. By dinner, no one mocked Lena again. By lights out, they whispered stories about her mother's operations, missions that were never officially acknowledged, and by morning, even the loudest girl stepped aside when Lena walked by. Not in fear, in recognition. Quiet strength needs no defense, because truth reveals itself when the noise fades. If this story moved you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more true military stories.